I'm a bad motherfucker.
The good adult is next. Hello.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, my friend. Go ahead.
I'm not sure what I'm responding to. I got an invite, so I just from you, so I just slid through.
You didn't get it from me, but I guess you got it from somebody. Okay, well, when you have something to say, put your hand up. That's
okay.
Fine.
Well,
yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, I will offer this, and this is my understanding. It may be different from some of the other folks who have spoken in the past and claim to be believers in Christ, that just as those who are non-believers, atheists, whatever, those who have their scholars, such as say Dawkins and what's the other guy, Richard Dawkins, and the other guy I can't remember his name.
Richard Dawkins and what?
Hitchens.
Christopher Hitchens. And don't leave. Of course, don't leave out Satan, right?
So just as you guys have those who articulated in many different ways their disbelief and why others should be disbelievers for that matter, there are credible, and I do mean this, credible Christian, call them scholars, believers that have countered those arguments. And so to the question, hold on.
Okay. Before you go any further, when you say an assertion and with unapologetically as like fact, you're going to get challenged to support it. Now, what do you mean? What do you mean it's been thoroughly proven?
First of all, I didn't say thoroughly proven. So let's go.
Whatever it was you said, that it's been debunked by.
I didn't say debunked either.
What do you say? Repeat what you just said.
Sure. Let's start with the first part. That there are lead figures in the non-belief sector of our country. Would you agree that Stephen Hawkins is one of those and Dawkins is another lead?
No. None of those guys are experts on Jesus mythicism. None of those guys are experts on Jesus mythicism at all.
I didn't know on atheism.
Hold on a second.
Just one second.
I'll give you as much time as you
I'll
need,
wait.
my man. Relax. You just heard the leading mythicist on the planet. That's the expert.
Yeah, I'm not sure what a mythicist is. Can you define that, please? First time I heard the term.
Oh my gosh.
That it's a fairy tale, that the Bible's a
Dude,
fairy
if you
tale.
don't even know what mythicist means and you think that Richard Dawkins is the expert on the historical Jesus, you have no ground to get up here and say, oh, well, some Christian scholars have refuted what they say. You haven't read any of the literature on either side, so I don't even know why you're even talking.
Okay, we got to a bad fit here, Adam. Either we can agree or disagree, because I've watched plenty of debates and read literature from both those gentlemen, that they are lead scholars and speakers as pertains to those who are atheists. Would you agree or disagree with that?
What is your assertion? I don't even
Why
know
can't you answer that question? Why is that a preposterous claim that something Dawkins is not a lead figure in the atheism?
He's not, no, we're not talking about.
No one's talking about Dawkins here, dude, except for you.
Correct. And you wouldn't even let me get to my point. So this is why you don't understand me. You interrupted me from the jump.
No, because you made an outlandish, absurd, fallacious point that I was trying
to you can't even repeat. You don't even know what you're saying that, but you don't even know what I said was outlandish. Tell the audience.
I was getting the idea that you were saying like the leading atheists have been debunked. By how?
I didn't even think you were kidding. You assumed, Albert.
Okay, listen, Jerky. What are you trying to say?
Fair enough.
Now. Speak now. What are you asking?
I'm not asking. I'm saying something. I'm making a statement, a claim. And here's my claim, and it's directly connected to your title. And I'm referring to individuals such as Richard Dawkins.
No one is referring to
I'm not saying you are. This is me speaking. I am.
Okay.
And I'm referring to those individuals and others like them, that they would tout the same thing as in your title, the question whether or not did Jesus Christ actually exist. These are individuals that have spoken on this at length and have written papers at length about that, had many debates. Everyone in the room knows that. My point is, hold on, Adam. My point is to say this. Just as much as some individuals might point to those individuals, there are others of the other side of the coin, Christian scholars who are quite versed, that have come up with very strong, substantial arguments to debunk, or rather, I should say, oppose their position. That's all I want to say, Albert.
Make those arguments.
And let me ask you, who are these scholars and what arguments are they refuting?
Exactly. Make your arguments, man. Let's hear it.
Where's Carrier wrong? All the arguments.
Give us your best evidence.
You're made today. Which one do you object to? Because you're just appealing to Richard Dawkins, who is appealing to Bart Ehrman, who is appealing to the consensus of Christian biblical scholarship. It's always been dominated by Christians. I already said this earlier in the talk too. This is all they do.
Adam, let him present his best arguments. Go ahead. You have the floor. As much time as you need.
I don't need that much time, so we can cut to the chase. Albert, you are or are not aware of the aware of it? Aware of them? Excuse me.
I'm not interested in talking points. State your best evidence. Go ahead.
Wait. You're actually what? My best evidence for what?
You just said that the Christian side has proven these other things wrong. Go ahead.
Right, but before I do that, do you know the other things that have been proven wrong? Do you know what they are?
What other thing, dude?
You claim that they were proven wrong.
You don't know, Albert. So you don't know. Richard Dawkins.
Hold on a second. Listen, guy, make your point. Don't dance around and play these fucking games. You know what this is called, right? You're just filibustering. You have no. Your argument is so vapid. You have no substance. You want me to address talking points and Dr. Dawkins? State what you speak plainly, or just get the hell out of the room.
I'm not having a bad faith argument with you. I'm saying you're asking me to state my claims. The claims have already been stated.
Go ahead.
Adam's point again.
What are these claims? Let's hear them.
Here, hold on. I'm trying to answer you.
Where's Richard Carrier wrong in the presentation? No, listen. No, don't. Oh gosh, we just listened to a presentation from Dr. Richard Carrier, who has a PhD in ancient history from Columbia. Okay, he gave a presentation. He made a ton of arguments. Al and I gave our commentary and expanded on those arguments. Where are they wrong? Tell us, where are they wrong?
Okay, fair enough, Adam. I'm not familiar with Mr. Carrier, so I have to listen to
there you go.
The one you're speaking.
There you go. Well, then really,
but I never mentioned him, Adam. Do you see what you're doing to the audience? I didn't bring that gentleman up.
Dude, that was the topic of the whole space that you are participating in, dude. Listen. I'm getting. My patience is running out. Unless you have something of substance, move along.
Al, did I not say this?
Okay, here's
this is what Christians always do. They don't look into it. No. They don't actually dig into the details. They just go, "Oh, well, the Christians debunked Richard Dawkins." Clueless. You don't even know who Richard Carrier is, and you think he's debunked. You haven't even looked into it. It illustrates what Christians always do.
Listen, Adam. I'm gonna give him one last opportunity to speak clearly and make your point, or else we're moving on. Go ahead.
Appreciate that, Albert.
Listen, Adam. I don't appreciate the generalities and the dancing around. I need some meat and potatoes. You tell me what has been debunked. Go ahead.
Right, a little easier on the carbs. So here's my question to Adam. Adam, my question is...
No, you're not asking the question. You're answering mine. Don't fuck around.
What is your question?
You know what? You're a fucking idiot. That's it.
What's your question?
How many times do I need to ask it? Give us the best evidence of these debunked claims. And you don't even need to identify the source. Just tell us what you have. Meat and potatoes.
Give you the best evidence for these debunked claims. Okay.
I'm the guy in the.
He's got nothing. He's drowning.
I do.
Drowning.
Hold
on. Pause. You don't even know.
I'm the blue guy holding his breath in the corner, waiting for the good adult to grow up, or actually grow a pair. Go ahead, good adult.
Okay, so
hold on a second.
Final attempt.
Final chance for you. Go.
Right. So here is your answer. Right. Here goes, friend. All right. So many of the claims that are being made, Dawkins and those who are of his ilk would put forth, like your title, did Jesus actually exist? They would put forth the idea that he didn't, and it was hard to prove such as pertains to scientifically, right? But then I would put forth, and many scholars, one I'd point to is a gentleman named Voddie Baucham. You can all look up Voddie Baucham if you choose to. He's made a phenomenal claim in efforts to demonstrate this. That the same comparisons for which it is that we use for previous prolific individuals, say President George Washington, if you will, right, and others of that genre. The same evidence we use to prove that those individuals existed, had an impact, and that their works still have a remnant today are the same metrics in which we use from a biblical standpoint. So, for instance, anything you use to show and prove that George Washington existed, I can do the exact same measurement.
Listen, okay, I can stop you there. I've heard this.
The evidence for George Washington is so much more than Jesus. This is the worst comparison.
Let's have the discussion, Adam. Let's have the discussion, Adam.
No, how about you go watch Carrier's presentations and read all the books on mythicism I have before you can even come to the table and have the conversation? Because you're clueless.
This is the most idiotic of all the arguments that has been debunked thoroughly over and over and over and over again. This guy is a vapid, empty vessel with no knowledge in his head. He wants to dance around in generalities. Look, dude, you don't think we've ever heard this fucking fallacious argument before? There's more evidence for Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great and George Washington. There's more evidence for Jesus than those people. No, actually, there isn't. Do you know why there isn't? Because there's not a single shred of extra biblical evidence that can be corroborated. Whereas Julius Caesar, Alexander, and George Washington actually wrote shit down in journals and reports. There's actually portraits of them. There's actually people that have met them and written about them. There's coins minted. There's frescoes. There's fucking artwork and portraits and archaeological evidence to the rafters. So you, my friend, are a fucking imbecile.
And Carrier debunks this in his books. And again, we ask you, where is Carrier wrong in the arguments from this presentation? And you don't even know who he is. And you come in here with the same ridiculous talking points in Christian apologetics that you heard from Christians in their books.
Bro, this is way too high level for you. You need to go back into the kiddie pool. All right. This is a time for grown folks to speak. Let's go to Adya Nathan. Adya Nathan. Hello.
They're not ready. Al, I've seen Ramesh has had his hand up for a long time.
Oh, I didn't even see that, dude. Okay, Ramesh, go ahead. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Saturday, everyone. I didn't want to speak earlier when you called on me just because you guys were in the middle of something. I didn't want to interrupt. But yeah, I agree with the premise. Like, obviously, that he probably didn't exist the way he's depicted in the Bible. What I believe is that there might have been a preacher or rabbi that existed, and then people built narratives about him for, ulterior purposes. But there's almost no evidence that he actually existed in the form that the Bible describes. The evidence of that is clear. You laid it out in the presentation by Richard Carrier today. I had a question for Adam that's a little bit off topic. Is that okay?
Go ahead, man.
Awesome. Adam, I've been looking at a lot of things online where the Temple Institute has 4 red heifers. They've moved them from Texas to Israel. They've erected an altar and they're waiting for some sort of Passover, and it's got something to do with the eclipse. Have you heard anything about this? I feel like if anybody would know, you would.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it right now, and I've been covering the red heifers. They have to sacrifice a completely red heifer. Every hair on its body has to be red. They're most likely genetically modifying it to try to make it happen, and they have to burn the heifer and then have a purification ritual with the ashes before they can build the third temple.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere like a year and a half ago when people first started talking about the red heifers, that they were genetically modified. So they're engineering the prophecies, which is something that you've said from the beginning, that they wrote down prophecies as a guideline, and then they work to fulfill those prophecies that they wrote themselves, and then claim that it's divine. Like, that's pretty obvious what they're doing. But is there a date by which...
Or they never fulfilled them at all and just said they did.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I wasn't there to verify the contents of the book, so that is entirely possible. But what's happening today is very clear that they're engineering events, modern-day events today, to conform to prophecy. Like, that's very blatantly obvious. Like, the cows, they weren't from Israel. They're from Texas, and they were genetically modified. So that doesn't fit the prophecy directly. But my question was more about the date. So people said that this needs to happen by, I think, the weekend of Easter and Passover, and if not, it's going to be then maybe next year. Do you know anything about, it needs to happen by a certain date, otherwise it's a nothing burger?
No, I haven't seen anything conclusive on a date, but are they planning to do it soon? Because Purim's about to start. Purim this week, I think.
Guys, don't get butthurt if I remove your microphones. There's people, other people want to participate, and I want to keep this space as glitch-free as possible. All right, the Abia Nathan, go ahead. Hello.
Oh, God bless you. How are you guys doing? I got my hand up last though. Those other guys were ahead of me, but so the question is, that Yeshua exists? Yeshua? Well, I mean, he claimed actually to be the creator, and so they wanted to kill him a whole bunch of times because he kept on trying to, basically equating himself with God, saying he's from the Father, right? And so, of course, they're going to put down somebody they don't believe in, right? And so he said, it's better that I should go that the helper may come, right? And then he says that the helper will come if you seek after him, keep his commands. The helper will come and reveal himself to you. And then when this happens, then you kind of like have this reassurance that everybody claims, you know, they want, right? And so then there's people like me who say, hey, that happens just like in John 14. You keep the commands, he comes to you, right? Because you're proving yourself to be a disciple, and then he baptizes you in the Holy Spirit, just like it says. And then from that point on, people think you're nuts, basically. And so, so it does happen. And so the proof in the pudding is when he comes to you and reveals himself to you, it's in a way that you're either the world would think you're crazy or else you just had a huge spiritual experience. And so there is proof out there. It's in seeking him by keeping his commands that, you know, and then believing that he is who he says he is. If you don't believe something, then it's not true. So obviously, if you don't believe in Yeshua, you don't believe in him. But if you do believe in Yeshua, then that changes you from the inside so that you're more aligned with him and you can believe in him.
Okay, I can understand having that that belief system in a celestial, spiritual Jesus, but not in a physical, literal Jesus. How do you express yours?
Well, if you kind of understand how God is, how God works, right? So, like, we're actually inside of God. You see? You understand how it works? We're inside. Nothing can be outside of God. If he's a creator, then there is nothing outside of a creator. So everything.
Okay, so then how does? Okay, but we're being a little bit more specific than God. We're talking about the God of Israel. We're talking about Jesus Christ.
So that's what I'm talking about. He's a creator. So basically, what happens is there's like, if you read in Genesis, it talks that there's the spirit, right? The spirit is hovering over Tehom, or the chaos, or the deep, and then he inserts firmament inside of chaos. Okay, and so firmament is order in chaos. Okay. And so you have order on the outside, which would be heaven, and then one of the heavenly beings fell. It became sin. That means it would be completely surrounded. If it's in heaven and everything is spirit, then that spirit would be completely surrounded by the encompassing spirit, and there would be war between the two. And then he inserted firmament into Tehom, and then through firmament is like a womb. And then
hey, I got to interrupt. I can't listen anymore of the preaching. Let me ask you a question.
That wasn't preaching. I was explaining creation.
You're preaching and you're citing the Gospels as proof that Jesus is real. The whole premise is that they're all fiction based on Scripture. Can I ask you? Do you know who?
Let it be done according to your faith. It says.
Do you know? Okay, I don't care about faith. And if just because it's real to you doesn't mean it's real to anybody else. If it's real,
but I know that.
Let me ask you. Yeah, I know that you're wrong. So let me ask you.
How do you know that I'm wrong? A man can only know 1% of all knowledge in the whole entire universe. You're saying that you know more.
This is how I know you're
1%?
wrong. Tell me, who is Richard Carrier, and what are his best arguments that Jesus is?
It does not matter. A person cannot know more than 1% of all the data that's in the universe. If you can only know 1%, then that means there's 99% left over you don't know about.
My man, okay, I appreciate that.
Prove anything.
Hold on, guys.
Hold on.
Hold on a second, Adam. If there are any Christians in the room that listened to the lecture, could you please queue up? This is the feedback that we need. People just jumping in that see the title of the space and just want to, throw in their 2 cents. That's fine too, I guess. But it's more helpful if we can keep it pertinent, right? We just had a Jedi level presentation from the leading mythicist on the planet that spelled it out for you about, how fake the Bible is and how it's, the default setting for the gospel writers was forgery. The overwhelming majority, the fucking vast majority of the gospels are forgeries. Now, as a Christian, I never knew that. This was revelatory. No idea. And then that's just the tip of the iceberg. So if we could have a discussion on what we just heard for the past hour and a half, that would be tremendous. Go ahead, Abiyai, Nathan. Go ahead. You want to finish it up?
I'll say so. But basically, what you're saying is because somebody says something negative, that makes it true.
No, we're saying that. Go ahead.
We're saying that your opinion on if Jesus is a myth is completely invalid and coming from a place of being uninformed because you don't even know what our arguments are. You didn't listen to this presentation. You don't know who Richard Carrier is. you haven't read any exactly. So the fact
I know, but
that
I've read a lot of esoteric things, and I know that.
I'm not talking about esoteric things. What book have you read on Jesus being a myth?
What book have I read on Jesus being a myth? I mean, I've looked into it in the past. I've been retired for a minute, right? And so there's a lot of things I've read on the internet in the past, but
Okay,
I
what are our
don't
best
focus,
arguments?
normally I don't focus on him being a myth. You know, that would be contrary to my belief.
What are our top arguments for Jesus being a myth?
There's 3 unclean spirits like frogs that go out to the world and deceive the entire nation.
Okay, next caller. This is ridiculous. He doesn't know. Your opinion is completely irrelevant.
Dude, you're basing your opinion on myth.
You're just.
Hey, Albert, I could give you some heat if you need.
You know,
I can give you some good arguments.
Hold on a second. You know, a lot of people understand. Even the evangelical Zionist Christians that have their heads completely up their ass, you know, in the Bible Belt, even they understand the concept of fake news and not to trust government, to not trust the plan, but they're asking you to believe this fake news. The good news is fake, right? The good news is fake, and trust it. Well, you know, if you're a rational person and you're a critical thinker, you're obviously going to come to your own conclusions. And what we heard was a dissertation of a guy completely taking apart this fake mythology. Now, obviously, if you didn't hear it, it's going to be a little difficult to have a conversation about it, right? It's going to be nearly impossible. Hold on, don't jump in if you got a speaker, because we're going in order here. Jared's peace plan. Hello.
I don't know if you guys got a chance to hear Lucas the other night. Correction, Angelo.
Yes, you have to call him Angelo on here.
I
or else
remember
you're not
that.
going to be able to speak.
Did you guys hear him?
No, did he mention Adam again? Obviously,
I brought it up. You know, I'm a peacemaker. I really want you guys to heal this rift. I said, look, Adam's not perfect. You're not perfect. I really respect both of you guys. I hope that you will find a way to patch it up. And he didn't say
no, I'm
anything
done with
bad.
him. He's dead to me.
No, he didn't say that. All he said was, yeah. That's all he said. So I just want to share that. Okay, so you know what Adam's doing is very important. It's a very difficult task. It's a lot to ask of people to give up Jesus. I tell you. I mean, I gave it up years ago, and I just wonder if in your book, Adam, are you going to include? I know it's not your responsibility to come up with alternatives, but can you kind of guide people a little bit towards possible ways of handling their anxiety and because this is, you're asking people to give up something that they believe keeps society in order. For example, like a lot of Christians really believe that when they give up Jesus, that society's just going to be completely in chaos. Everybody's going to be fucking around and stealing and cheating and lying. And you know, I think a lot of people really need a remedial education on why you can still be moral without Jesus. You know, just sharing that 2 cents with you. Curious what you think.
Yeah, the book is not going to provide any alternatives. It's strictly about exposing the Jesus deception. But you know what? There's a lot of books about philosophy and alternative belief systems. And the idea, I mean, the simple answer to Christians who say that we need Jesus to have a society, like there's been lots of societies throughout. And first of all, Christianity is not exactly didn't exactly do the greatest job of holding Europe together. I mean, it's true. And it started happening when it was 90% Christian. But there's countries like, you know, Scandinavian countries that don't believe in Jesus, that they get along just fine. There's Japan, they don't believe in Jesus. There's less crime and, you know, less problems that America has there. So, I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. What?
Put that in your book, okay? And
okay.
I'm not expecting you to come up with alternative. I'm just saying maybe say here are some possibilities for you to explore. You know.
And Jared, people aren't as like, you know, weak and needy as you might think.
Oh, I don't know.
What I ask people, it's like you could keep all of your same beliefs you have, but just like you don't need to have the magic and the Jewish Messiah. You can the idea that we need to replace like delusional myths with more delusional myths, it doesn't register with me at all. When I stopped, I never really believed in Jesus, but I was scared of God, scared of going to hell, but like the Son of God and the resurrection and the blood magic atonement, even as a kid, I never could believe that shit. So But the idea that, like, well, I don't believe that, well, I got to go believe in Thor, I got to believe in Apollo, or I got to come up with some
Right.
other shit. It's just like, it wasn't even like not required at all. So maybe because that's my personal experience, I don't understand why other people need it so bad.
You're a very rational person, and I think that you need to understand that most people are not. You're very smart. A lot of people are, average intelligence, okay, and they're more irrational and they're emotional based, and it's a
But you see,
long.
this is frustrating too, because this is what the Christians do to me all the time. I provide all these arguments and evidence about how Jesus is a myth and Christianity isn't real, and its intention was about conquering all of the goyim for the God of Israel. And all the Christians ever say was, well, what are you going to replace it with? And it's like, okay, you're avoiding. We haven't had one person call in and actually talk about what Carrier said so far.
Not one.
I don't blame you for that, but that's what it always gets.
Jared,
I agree. Adam, I have
Jared,
Jared,
thank you, brother. Appreciate the input. Next time,
Thanks, Jared.
Next time you speak to Lucas, tell him that he was the impetus for me to go into this whole line of Richard Carrier and debunking Christianity, and thank him for me, please. Let's go to Investor Challenge and then Marcus Mitchell. Hello.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's really difficult being a former Christian, both an evangelical who was probably a little into Zionism, believing in the Jewish things, and then being Catholic as well. But when you hear all these arguments and so forth, which Adam makes and Tremaine before, it's just so hard not to see the truth through it. Because even right Genesis verse 1, let there be light, there's mythical right there. That's just vibration and sound turning into light. There's no so it's just difficult to, like you say, to shape your whole worldview, which you've had in the past, to change it dramatically when you see new facts takes time. Yeah, it's just difficult, but it's hard to refute what you guys have said through the guy you was playing earlier, through everything Adam says and you say all the time. That's all. Good job, guys.
Thank you, brother. And don't feel bad. It's hard to refute because it's peer reviewed, man. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you talk to others about this and you try to even bring it up, they'll say, "Oh no, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says this, doesn't say this." So you don't even you guys know better than anybody. You don't even have a chance to even speak or give them a possible explanation to what might be another.
Do you want to live in the real world, or you want to pretend, or do you want to pretend like you're going to the movies and suspending disbelief? Ultimately that's the decision you have to make.
Well, if the movies didn't suck so bad nowadays, I might go to the movies.
Yeah, it's like an MCU. It's like an MCU movie.
All right, I'll let you go. Thanks.
All right, Challenge Investor. Good job, brother. Let's go to Marcus Mitchell. Hello. Marcus, I can't hear a word you're saying, brother man. Don't say you understand until you hear the brother man. Marcus, I can't hear you.
I do.
Oh, there you go.
I appreciate you guys and you're confronting this heinous, and it shows that the church is a failure, that in your face they can do this to you. And the Jesus character, the middle character, dumbed our society down. And America is the country that blessed Israel with prayers, assistance, and that this country has to be destroyed, not Scandinavia, not Finland, not Iceland. They get to stick around. Why do we have to be destroyed? So we have put all of this fake credit, blood, and treasure through this Jesus character that never shows up. They can turn to Shiva and Allah in your face, Balaam, your face, and there's no answer from the sky. They would kill out of 1,000 kingdoms. And this one is the sucker that has to die for it. Why is that the case? It's all an alchemy, right, guys?
Adam, you want to take that? I'm trying to take some people off and add some people. Well, where the fuck is Adam? He must have disappeared, bro. The whole.
Why is my
Listen, they use all kinds of techniques, neuro-linguistic programming, but the overwhelming weapon has been the theological, right? for the last 2,000 years. There's a very good reason why they've gotten their way, and we are where we are right now. And the biggest weapon that we can attribute to that is the Abrahamic faiths. It gives them everything they want. They don't need supernatural shit, even though I'm not discounting that 100%, Marcus. But this could be. There's a reasonable, practical explanation for this. When you have primacy, God's chosen status, right? And you've had a monopoly on banking through usury for millennia plus, and you've accrued vast wealth that can translate into buying influence and power. So we don't need the supernatural witchcraft and warlocks and all this other stuff. But like I said, I'm not closing the door that they're not able to tap into some kind of dark energy. I won't close the door on that. But
that book says that they're cursed. That book says that they're cursed because of robbery. They're called Goyim by their God. They call us Goyim, and they're illiterate. Like the churches kept articulating argument towards you, or can't take in a book that we've all had forever, and even will believe in. They just believe in it. It's
right.
The most. Can you apply that? If I went to a restaurant and the chef was not qualified, well, I went to a dentist and he was that qualified. It's just, it doesn't apply logically any place else. They're showing their ass to you in Borat movies. And what he's in your face. And these people have nothing said. They just excuse it. Which side had the stronger? The says that they're your enemies for the gospel's sake, right? So you got a Ravens-Steelers game. What team is that Yahweh God rooting for, right? It's always rooting for the Jewish, because enemies of Israel will mysteriously get called off. Not us right now. We sign up for it. As a people, we sign up for that betraying spirit that's giving Israel all of our wealth and treasure, like the book says. Who's been deluded here? The churches sound deluded to me.
Adam, you want to take that? I'm adding some people here. And I just went to the bathroom.
Latest guy, I pretty much agree with you. And the guy before, I missed the whole thing, but it sounded like he was saying that that the Christianity has been such a strong delusion that he thinks that it has to be supernatural or magic. Absolutely not. And I think believing, as Christians do, that they're these supernatural villains that were chosen by God, chosen but cursed, and God killers. Like, to kill God elevates them to like a supernatural divine status, even if you think of them in a negative way. But there's no magic required. It's very simple.
I mean, look.
They have
when he says, hold on a second, Adam. When he says mental alchemy, that's just manipulation, right?
Yeah,
so
psychological manipulation, predictive programming.
Right.
And it's a spell that they can have the power of prophecy when they fulfill their prophecies. And Christianity is the New Testament is just fake fulfilling prophecies. That's how it was made. They had all of the scriptures and they wrote a story to fulfill those scriptures. It's not magic. It's just a very simple, rabbit in the hat parlor trick.
Marcus, you good?
Well, even Gentile masonry is held or high servitude. He opened built the spin gavel for the Jewish control of the nations. It says that back from that. So there's no Satan to worry about. It says they're the synagogue. Damn Yankees, and Satan is in their lineup. Like, they're on the same side, and the churches think that it's Satan versus God. Like, they're illiterate. They can't keep it in context. So they're being fooled by left and right. They're feeding their own destruction.
Well, look,
it's designed to fool.
Okay. Listen, regardless of the supernatural, there's a very dark theme that runs through that theology. They don't base things on
Rationality.
merit. It's not a meritocracy, right? It's not
They're
about
willing to sacrifice
virtuous
themselves.
values. It's about winning and getting ahead, and they self-segregate themselves and elevate themselves to look down upon everybody else as less than and subhuman. There's a very dark element associated, and it's there, and it runs through, and we're trying to grapple. They've been trying. Well, the world's been grappling with this for thousands of years, and we're no different, right? So
they're aiding and abetting a known killer.
Yeah, so
they're aiding and abetting Israel as they cook Gazans. They have all of Hollywood has nothing to say about Gaza because they know where their bread is right there.
Well,
only candid Owens out
well,
there.
Angelina Jolie, Susan Sarandon, John Cusack, Mark Ruffalo. They've been. There's plenty of people speaking out. Not enough, but there have been people speaking out. Thanks, Marcus. Let's move it along here. Brother Liam Jared, hello. Liam, are you in the room? Liam's gone. Okay, so let's go to Pulse N. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I had a quick question. This is not my area of expertise, but it seems like you guys have been looking into this quite a bit. I heard the argument the other day that Jesus was not, and this is something somebody said earlier. Somebody said Jesus is Jewish. I heard the argument that Jesus was Judean, not specifically Jewish. That means he came from a place named Judea. And
what's the difference? What's the difference?
The thing is, not everyone from a certain region was Jewish. There's a lot of non-Jewish Judeans. So is it the case that people are making an assumption, or what do you think?
If he was circumcised, followed the law, went to synagogue, was called rabbi, do you think that makes him Jewish?
Are all those things confirmed?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. The thing is, I told you, I'm not an expert in this. That's why I'm just asking these questions.
Okay, Adam, go ahead.
But the thing is, if they are confirmed, then yeah. But I did hear the argument that Jesus was just Judean, not Jewish, and that's actually a leap that people are taking that maybe is not based in fact.
Well, actually, I think you're mistaking the argument that the Koppers say. They say Jesus was Galilean, so that means he's not Jewish. And then they cite an Old Testament verse that says it's called Galilee of the nations. But they also, I mean, yes, it's confirmed according to the Bible that he's circumcised on the 8th day according to Jewish law. He celebrates the Jewish holidays, Passover and Hanukkah. He reads Hebrew Torah in the synagogues. He's called rabbi. He's called the King of the Jews when the three wise men show up on his birth. He's the seed of David. David was the king of Judah, the Davidic dictatorship. Judean means Jews. So even if he was born in Galilee, if a Jewish person is born in Egypt, does that make them Egyptian, or are they still Jewish? So this is all semantics. Again, we're saying he's a myth, but the mythological character is undoubtedly it shouldn't even be a debate at all, and it's not with all scholars, and 99.999% of all Christians. So there it is.
Okay, I just want to push back a little bit. You might be completely right. I'm just to explore it a bit more. What references are you using? Is there certain books that you're using? Just briefly, you can say that. And then also, it's possible to live in a place in the world and follow traditions in that area and not actually be a practicing whatever, right? You can actually be, I don't know, like a Hindu living in America celebrating Christmas. It doesn't mean you're Christian. A lot of that happens purely.
Pulse, got it.
Feel free to expand.
Let me ask you this, and then we can move on to the next caller. What's the difference? Okay, so let's just play along here and say Jesus wasn't a Jew. What's the difference? How is that relevant?
No, I was just curious because somebody said it, and it wasn't really. Nobody had a counter claim or something like that. Everyone just let it slide, and I'm just wondering. Is that something that's been established as fact, or is it something that people just assume?
It's not. There's hardly any facts in the Bible, bro. According to the story, the fairy tale in the Bible, Jesus was a Jew.
So it's an assumption. It's an assumption you're making. So
It's not an
so what
assumption.
what Adam is saying is actually not based in.
The Bible. It's based on the Bible. You want
Yeah,
a
yeah,
book?
but the thing is,
The Bible.
there is some historical evidence that Jesus was born in a certain place, right? There is some.
What is it? What is it?
No, I'm
What is
asking
it?
you. Is
No,
there
there
some?
isn't.
The thing is,
There isn't.
the spiritual claims and all that stuff, Son of God stuff, is maybe up in the air. But the stuff where he was born in a certain area and people actually knew of his existence and wrote about it, is that not? You're saying that all of that is
That's not
non-existent.
Yes. Yes.
There's no
That's what we're
history of
saying.
this person ever existing, as you're saying.
Paul was not
Exactly.
written.
Did you watch? Hold on a second, Adam. Did you listen to the lecture of Carrier?
Actually, I just got here a few minutes ago. I
See,
just saw
this is
this
the-
space
this is-
trending.
this-
It
this is
was trending on Twitter, so yeah, a bunch of people probably haven't seen it.
What was trending on Twitter?
This space is trending on the Spaces section of Twitter.
Hell raw.
Hell raw.
Yay.
All right. Thank you, Pulse. Appreciate that. All right. Speaking of
Ryan
hell,
Garcia was talking about Jesus Christ. That might be why some of the terms are trending. Just to fill you guys in about this. Sorry to interject. I'll put my hand back up.
okay. All right. Liam Jarrett, and then into the meta. Liam Jarrett, and into the meta. Liam, hello.
May the light of Ra and the strength of Odin invigorate us on this Sabbath. I have to testify, my friend. I too was once a very much faithful servant of our Lord. I completed a theological master's degree and was ready to be a eunuch for Christ in the Catholic Church. And then when I took a historically critical approach to my faith and I learned other religions and this syncretism and found out that there is in fact no historical evidence for this character Jesus, I then went to take a step further, and thanks to the help of Adam Green, Richard Carrier, some others, I came to the fact that this was made up to subvert the non-Jewish world, which it did very successfully. That is a hard pill to swallow when you have to accept that you've been lied to and that you bought into it. But when you take it in, it is ultimately freeing because, my friends, truth shall set you free. Something they probably stole from another text somewhere. And so that's hard. That is hard. But ultimately, it's freeing, my friends. So hang in there and do the homework.
Yeah, and thank God you didn't become a eunuch for the Jesus. Good job, Liam, the Aquarian, Jared. Appreciate you. It's the meta. It's the meta. What's up, Troy? Welcome.
Hey, thanks again for having me on. Yeah, I think kind of along this topic, it kind of boils down to how you would quantify or define beliefs. The American legal system is that quantification, and they just work. Obviously, facts or sources to be able to substantiate truth. Ends in the idea of Santa and the two.
Hold on a second, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I couldn't hear that guy's call.
Yeah, that's why I dropped it, came back on because it was glitching and pixelating really, really horribly. This is what happens on the most feared and censored and throttled down and suppressed space on this here kosher platform known as X. As the Talmud tells us, a priest may take a maid, betroth a maid through coitus 3 years and a day. All right, are you back in here, Troy? Let's reconnect him. Where are you? Well, I can't find you, bro. Here, wait, is this you? There you go. Go ahead. It's the meta. Hello. Yeah, now you're 5x5.
All right. Was I breaking up from the very beginning?
Not from the very beginning, about a minute in.
Oh, okay. Ideally, I was just trying to point out that, there's no repercussions for believing in Santa or the Tooth Fairy. And I think that that's probably more of a cultural or a societal problem. But generally, it should be used in an advantageous way to prime folks to remove their cognitive dissonance over a while. It's a nice story. It's a preference to be able to believe in those things as a kid. But obviously, it becomes a problem when you become convicted of it being the truth without there actually being substantial facts or evidence to support it. And I think, obviously, Carrier's syncretism arguments are, they have a substantial amount of facts to be able to create a paradigm in which you would be able to create an affidavit, or in the same way that he does. It's just I put up what I believe is the truth, and then you have people peer review it, and that's about as close as you can get to what becomes something that can quantify as like, I am so convicted of this, I will put my hand and name to it and ultimately say it is the truth under penalty of perjury. Most people don't really realize it's legal to lie. That's why our politicians and everybody, our sports, everything lie to us, because they don't actually have to attest to the substance of it being true. I think holding people nowadays, especially if they want to say that their preferences or what they may even be convicted of are the truth, they need to attest to it under penalty of perjury, and that actually might create some of the repercussions that can remove that cognitive dissonance. So just with that, I'll leave it.
Yeah. Spot on, man. Yeah. Carrier makes a very compelling argument, a game, set, and match presentation, pretty much. It was a deal, sealing the deal for me, for sure. And it is revelatory. There's no doubt about it. Adam, you have any comments on what we just heard?
No, I generally agree.
Yeah, pretty much.
Agree.
Yeah,
I hope we can hear a call from actually a Christian that can object to something Carrier said. No offense to the other.
Yeah.
I'm desperate for support.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, don't get upset if I remove your microphone, because there's a lot of people want to participate. Everyone's going to get an opportunity, and obviously, we're going to get to everybody. Everyone's going to have an opportunity here. Let's go to Chief Sands. Hello.
Hello. Just wanted to introduce myself. I own JulianAssange.com. WikiLeaks to CIA, my opinion, after 14 years. But anyway, getting back to this debate on Jesus. So, right, I was born Christian, but then I felt the sting of the Christian cult. Horrible. Where I stand now is I just have a couple yes and no questions. Do you believe God exists if you say Jesus doesn't? Just yes or no, Albert?
I don't know. I don't know if God exists.
Okay. Let me keep going. You knew about Jesus saying, "Woe to you, Pharisees!" Right? You teachers of the law, right? So you heard that Jesus came against the Jews and the Pharisees, and then about the historical history. Like, yeah, well, where's the history on 9/11? What's the history on CIA's WikiLeaks? What's the history on all this other bullshit we've been taught? Not to say that you're wrong about everything. I mean, I believe in a creator. I just had too many supernatural experiences, right? So like to not. But anyway, so here's the last thing. So in Revelation 3 verse 9, they say they're Jews, but they're not. They're synagogue of Satanists. That's what I believe about Zionists. That they say they're Jews, and even people like John Kerry, right, who took the Freedom Oath through City of London Corporation, they say they're Christian, but they're all about Zionism, which is not Judaism. And the Jews, the Rothschild Zionists, they say they're Jew, but they're not. They're synagogue of Satan. That's what Revelation chapter 3 verse 9 says. So
Now, do you remember? Do you remember the last time you called and I asked you if you ever could interpret that to mean the Christians that say they're those that call themselves Jews but are not, but apply that to the Christians?
That's. I don't remember what I answered, but I believe that it's the same thing. Yeah,
right.
Anybody can say they're Jew, but they're not. They're really liars. There's if they're Zionists, they could be totally lying about being Jew and Christian, but they could actually be synagogue of Satan.
Hey,
That's what I
let me ask a question. We hear this all the time. So according to you, it's not the Jews that are at issue. It's only the people pretending to be Jews, and it's not Judaism.
Well, I'm not saying all Christians.
It's not Judaism that's the problem. You have no problem with Judaism. It's only this supposedly different thing called Zionism. Am I getting that straight?
Well, no, I got.
And everybody, our sports, everything lie to us because they don't actually have to attest to the substance of it being true. I think holding people nowadays, especially if they want to say that their preferences or what they may even be convicted of are the truth, they need to attest to it under penalty of perjury, and that actually might create some of the repercussions that can remove that cognitive dissonance. So just with that, I'll leave it.
Yeah. Spot on, man. Yeah. Carrier makes a very compelling argument, a game, set, and match presentation, pretty much. It was a deal, sealing the deal for me, for sure. And it is revelatory. There's no doubt about it. Adam, you have any comments on what we just heard?
No, I generally agree.
Yeah, pretty much.
Agree.
Yeah,
I hope we can hear a call from actually a Christian that can object to something Carrier said. No offense to the other. I'm desperate for sport.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, don't get upset if I remove your microphone, because there's a lot of people want to participate. Everyone's going to get an opportunity, and obviously, we're going to get to everybody. Everyone's going to have an opportunity here. Let's go to Chief Sands. Hello.
Hello. Just wanted to introduce myself. I own JulianAssange.com and WikiLeaks to CIA, my opinion, after 14 years. But anyway, getting back to this debate on Jesus. So, right, I was born Christian, but then I felt the sting of the Christian cult. Horrible. Where I stand now is I just have a couple of yes and no questions. Do you believe God exists if you say Jesus doesn't? Just yes or no, Albert?
I don't know. I don't know if God exists.
Okay. Let me keep going. You knew about Jesus saying, "Woe to you, Pharisees!" Right, you teachers of the law, right? So you heard that Jesus came against the Jews and the Pharisees, and then about the historical history. Like, yeah, well, where's the history on 9/11? What's the history on CIA's WikiLeaks? What's the history on all this other bullshit we've been taught? Not to say that you're wrong about everything. I mean, I believe in a creator. I just had too many supernatural experiences, right? So like to not. But anyway, so here's the last thing. So in Revelation 3 verse 9, they say they're Jews, but they're not. They're synagogue of Satanists. That's what I believe about Zionists. That they say they're Jews, and even people like John Kerry, right, who took the Freeman Oath through City of London Corporation, they say they're Christian, but they're all about Zionism, which is not Judaism. And the Jews, the Rothschild Zionists, they say they're Jew, but they're not. They're synagogue of Satan. That's what Revelation chapter 3 verse 9 says. So
Now, do you remember the last time you called and I asked you if you ever could interpret that to mean the Christians that say they're those that call themselves Jews but are not, but apply that to the Christians?
That's. I don't remember what I answered, but I believe that it's the same thing. Yeah,
right.
Anybody can say they're Jew, but they're not. They're really liars. There's like if they're like if they're Zionists, they could be totally lying about being Jew and Christian, but they could actually be synagogue of Satan.
Hey, let me ask a question. We hear this all the time. So according to you, it's not the Jews that are at issue. It's only the people pretending to be Jews, and it's not Judaism.
Well, I'm not saying all Christians.
It's not Judaism that's the problem. You have no problem with Judaism. It's only this supposedly different thing called Zionism. Am I getting that straight?
Well, no, I got problems with every religion. I don't think anybody's got it right, actually, because there's so much going on in Christianity that is just horrible.
But Chief Sands, Adam's got it right? Like you're like, the Jews are nice, the Torah observant Jews are nice.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not going to be having people cut baby penises and suck the blood and think that's cool. I don't think that's right. That's just wrong. And I don't think anybody should be killing anybody, because I don't think that's the Maker's plan for any of us.
All right, do me a favor, guys. Do me a favor. The speakers, the people that have that have the speakers on, right? That I've added as speakers. If you're a Christian and you want to respond, please keep your hand up. Put your hand up. All right. Chief Sands, after you, we're gonna go to Eden Rocks, and then Christ 766, and then Enoch the Metatron in that order. But finish up, Chief Sands.
Yeah, so I've just had so many supernatural experiences I could not deny if I wanted to. But I've also been one to really curse the creator and going, look, I'm trying to save the world. Where the fuck are you? You know, I get that. But I'm also understanding that that the creator has been taking the rap from the creation. So, you know, I gotta be optimistic, and I gotta quit blaming the maker for all the stupid things people do in the maker's name.
All right, can we, if we're gonna blame anybody, can we just blame the Jews?
Well,
can
I
we
think we can
agree
blame
on
the
that?
Zionists pretending to be Jew, and we could say that no religion has it all right.
Okay, we can at least all agree on that. Thank you, Chief Sands. Appreciate you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah. Let's go to Eden Rocks. Hello.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Interesting topic. Don't speak for anybody necessarily, thinking that no one religion has it all. But besides that, let me get right into it. The argument that because they replaced the guy Judas, right? They replaced him, so there were 12. So the argument that 11 illiterate fishmongers and a tax collector went out and established Christianity that has lasted in a powerful form into the year 2024. The argument that they did that through some kind of scams and flams kind of thing when they were broke. Argument against that is absurd. On its face, that's where you got to go back. Forget about anything else. I don't care who's a mythicist or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. If you think that they were just doing it from some kind of scams and flams, then the fact that they did pull it off is arguably the greatest miracle of all. So you're up here running a bait space, right? And look, and I didn't hear what he said. But I am there coming up. I'd like to hear you attack my point because, you know what I'm trying to say? And thank you for taking my call.
No. Listen, you don't have to hang up. We keep people around.
Yeah, I ain't hanging up. I'm hanging out.
All right. Okay. Or the greatest lie ever sold.
How would it have worked? It's inconceivable that it would have spread. How did it spread?
How did it spread? Very diligently.
Oh, come on. Everybody was just asleep in their shoes. Come on, it's still people. You got to have something behind it, right? It doesn't make it. And this is a logical argument.
Yes, we're speaking logically here. Did you listen to the dissertation of Carrier?
No, I did not, because I just showed up, and you got a very, respectfully, you got a bait title. You guys know what you're doing. You had the influencers, Sneeko and Ryan Garcia going back and forth.
Dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Bait title.
Of course I know what I'm talking about. I just presented, boom, wall right in the face of it. Come on. How did it spread?
Gotcha, mic drop. Dude, you're making a jackass of yourself.
How did it spread? How did it spread?
Do you want to hear an answer, or do you want to just keep?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Of course I do. Well, don't say I'm making a jackass out of myself when you're also like, what are you dangling the answer like a carrot? Just give me the answer. Show me how I'm a jackass. Don't just tell me I'm making some kind of a jackass.
I will certainly demonstrate how you're making a complete jackass of yourself. Don't you worry. Just give me the opportunity to do so. First of all, your assertion that this is a clickbait title when you didn't.
Of course it is. Clown world with all the symbols of the religion.
It is because I say it is, and I can talk over you and be loud and obnoxious. Dude, chill the fuck out.
I've got my take peer reviewed. You know what was peer reviewed too? The lobotomy.
Dude, you know what was lobotomy? These nuts across your chin. Just fucking relax. You're gonna get as much time as you need.
What?
Right?
I'm kind of good at this. It's cool. What do you got for my argument?
You're making a complete spectacle of yourself. because you're talking from an ignorant point of view that you just admitted you didn't even watch.
How did they pull it off?
You know what? I got to mute your mic. Do I have to mute your mic, or are you going to behave yourself? One or the other. Behave yourself. Don't interject. We're going to demonstrate how you're making a complete jackass out of yourself. First of all, the assertion that this is a clickbait title. We just listened to a lecture, an hour and 20 minutes long, and it's on the historicity of Jesus. And if he didn't exist, why was he invented? So it's totally pertinent. It's not incendiary. I know it's kind of incendiary, right? The title, but it's totally appropriate. So this is the kind of trouble that you get in when you pop off and you don't have the context or the knowledge. So you're making a jackass out of yourself. Now, as far as how did it take off? How did this floundering religion sink roots, establish itself 2,000 years later? I'll let Adam give you a proper dissertation on that. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, how did every other religion throughout time and history and place spread around? Then the lie is the goal to make it spread and to conquer everybody's mind. Carrier, who I'm sure you don't even know who it is, the PhD top mythicist scholar, you also said you don't even know what mythicism is. So the fact that you don't even know what the term is about a mythical Jesus shows that you're coming from a place of complete ignorance. You haven't read any of the arguments.
Ignorance to nonsense. How did they build it? They were broke. It's a miracle that they did it. You can't just explain it away.
Okay, let me keep explaining. I'll answer your question some more. So again, lies can spread. And also, if Jesus is a myth, the whole premise is that the 12 disciples were also myths. It's a mythical story, and all we know about the disciples is from the Gospels, which are myth and fiction and later traditions. So there's actually lots of discrepancies about who were the 12 disciples. Paul never mentioned the word disciple at all. And lies can spread. Islam spread, and also it didn't spread rapidly. Carrier gets deep into the growth of Christianity and how it's possible.
I want to drill him on a couple of different things here. Hey, Einstein, you're of the belief that in the 1st and 2nd century, circa 1st and 2nd century Palestine, that the Christianity spread like wildfire, right?
Well, what year was Emperor Nero burning Christians in the garden? That was 100 or something, or I don't know.
I'm just asking you a simple question. Is that your assertion that Christianity, when Christianity came onto the scene in the 1st century, 2nd century AD, in the Mediterranean, circa Palestine, right? It's 1st, 2nd century AD, and it took off like wildfire, correct?
I'm going with what's commonly perceived to be the story of it. Yeah, that's my position. Sure, okay, I'll stay that way.
And that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong.
How is it? So it's a grand freaking Dan Brown conspiracy, is what you're alleging on the show.
Am I alleging it's a
no? It has nothing to do with Dan Brown. Hold on.
I mean, Dan Brown-esque. See, I'm not a mythicist, but I'm a pop culture connoisseur, so I make these pop culture references, sir.
Okay, listen, you say that it spread so rapidly, so miraculously. Then if you were to watch this lecture and say, hold on, let me fucking respond.
It didn't. Listen to the response. Let him talk.
It didn't. Listen. It didn't grow miraculously at all. I mean, look at how fast Mormonism grew based on...
you can't compare that. Come on, how do you do that with a straight face?
Listen, I'm giving you examples. Also, hold on. Before you quit filibustering, if you would have listened to the presentation and what we talked about, Pliny the Younger, one of the earliest mentions outside of the Bible of Jesus or of Christianity, of the existence of Christians, he didn't even know who they were. And he was in a position that if Christianity was exploding like you claim it was, he would have known exactly who they were and all about them. But you didn't know that. You're completely clueless. You come in
that
here
sounds like you're cherry picking something. What about all the rest of them that is real? If you just from a purely historical thing.
What is real historically? The resurrection, is that real?
Well, I mean, there's no peer-reviewed circle of sages that are going to trump what. I mean, I wasn't there. Neither were you, right? I don't know.
Crucifixion real?
Neither was Paul or the authors of the Gospels.
Either was Paul.
They're not
So
written
who
by-
made up Paul, according to you? When was it made up? Paul is just made up. I mean, it just sounds. No, hold on.
Hey,
Are you doing another show? Because I will listen to the whole dissertation next time you do
I
it.
didn't say Paul was made up. I
All
didn't
you
say
gotta
Paul
do
was
is
made up.
replay this one. And
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
About an hour in.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you. Where did Paul learn about Jesus?
Look, if I'm going from, the people you want to convince,
Doesn't even have a clue.
people you want to convince are the lay people, right? The common people.
I got to mute the room. This doesn't work unless you, if you want to be sincere and you want to have a real intellectual discourse, you can't come in here like a house of fire, just spouting, oh, you're 11 fishmongers and a tax collector. Here we are in 2024, and the Jews have all they want, the privacy, the God's chosen status, and we're their slaves shackled into kosher servitude. How do you explain this other than it's real? You can't come in here like that. If you want to have an intelligent back and forth, you can do that. But if you're not, let me leave you with this. And you showed your teeth and turned on me. Gotta help the problem. You don't have because you took my gold, the substance. It's cut my soul. You can't answer.
You're making a vapid argument because you can't tell us.
Tried to let it go. Disrespectful. Like I said, bro, we're trying to have a and if you think you're just gonna run over me and talk over me, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So when Adam asked you how did intellectual discourse, you can't come in here like a house of.
I don't know.
Crucifixion real?
Neither was Paul or the authors of the Gospels.
Either was Paul. So who made up Paul, according to you? When was it made up? Paul is just made up. I mean, it just sounds. No, hold on.
Hey,
are you doing another show? Because I will listen to the whole dissertation next time you do it.
I didn't say Paul was made up. I didn't say Paul was made up.
Replay this one. And
yeah, I understand.
About an hour in.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you. Where did Paul learn about Jesus?
Look, if I'm going from, the people you want to convince,
doesn't even have a clue.
People you want to convince are the lay people, right? The common people.
I got to mute the room. This doesn't work unless you, if you want to be sincere and you want to have a real intellectual discourse, you can't come in here like a house of fire, just spouting, oh, you're 11 fishmongers and a tax collector. Here we are in 2024, and the Jews have all they want, the privacy, the God's chosen status, and we're their slaves shackled into kosher servitude. How do you explain this other than it's real? You can't come in here like that. If you want to have an intelligent back and forth, we can do that. But if you're not, let me leave you with this. Okay? Obviously, you don't. This is the problem with a lot of Christians. You don't have the knowledge, right? Like the substance. It's a vapid argument you're making because you can't answer.
You're making a vapid argument because you can't tell us.
Let's see. This guy does not know how to conduct himself. Absolutely disrespectful. Like I said, bro. We're trying to have a high level discussion here, and if you think you're just going to run over me and talk over me, it's not going to work. So when Adam asked you how did Paul, what was his relationship with Jesus, and you can't really explain it, Adam, what was the exact question? And I'll give you an opportunity to answer it. And if you can't answer it, we're going to move on. Adam, ask him that again.
Yeah, I asked him, how did Paul know about Jesus?
He persecuted Jesus' disciples.
How did Paul say that he learned about Jesus? Did he know him?
Yeah, he learned. He was a member. He's a member of the Pharisees. Look, I'm just going from the from the Bible, right? That's where I'm pulling it from, right?
But you're wrong. So your Bible education is lacking. It's a fail.
Yeah, well, that's just what you're saying. There's no authority on your side. You're not gonna. Okay, come on, man. Come on, man. You can't say how did it spread. You can't. You compared it to Mormonism. That's a ludicrous comparison.
Adam and I understand your Bible better than you do, because you can't answer a simple question about how Paul learned of Jesus and how he, whatever. We'll give the answer, right? He learned of Jesus through revelation and the scriptures. He never met the man, so he had visions of him. They communed together through visions, and he saw him in reading the scriptures. That's just what you say. No, that's what the Bible says. That's what Paul said. So take the L, and I'll leave you with this.
There ain't no L. You just can't answer the question, but it's fine. It's fine. I said, Mikey, thank you for giving me the time. Thank you for giving me the time. But I mean, vapid and all this filigree. I mean, give me a break. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. You know what I saw? You know what I saw in my cereal, in my cornflakes? I saw.
What are you talking about? That's completely nuts. Now you're talking nonsense. Now you're believe. That's all, folks. How did it spread? They were broke. They were illiterate. What are you guys talking about? You're getting the clicks. You're getting the clicks.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll leave you with this, since we were trying to like mend the fence there, and you were trying to be.
You called me a jackass off top, buddy.
Because you're acting like a jackass.
No, I wasn't. I ain't acting like no jackass. I said, how did it spread? And then you called me a jackass. What do they call that? Maybe the historian mythicist would know. Ad hominem.
My man, I'll leave you with this, and then we're going to move on. We got a lot of people in the room that want to
see you in the next show. No, I'm having a good time.
No. Listen to this. A truth is easily killed. A lie well told is immortal. That's a Mark Twain saying, and
that saying peer reviewed, sir. I don't know if I can accept that saying.
You don't have to accept it. Okay, it's a Mark Twain saying, and it's fucking beautiful, and it applies perfectly here. Okay, guys, do me a favor. If you're a Christian and you've seen and you were with us from the from the beginning of the Richard Carrier lecture, we really want to hear. We really want to get into it with you guys, because you heard the same material and you've been able to hopefully digest it. Let's go to Enoch the Metatron. Hello. Enoch, go ahead. You have your hand up?
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had to pull over. I'm out riding my bike around San Antonio. I mean, first of all, we gotta keep ourselves composed and not pull an Alex Jones on people. That's basically the worst thing you can do in a debate is acting like Alex Jones. And I would have to say, and I'd really want Adam's take on this too, is that number one, I think it's a very fatal mistake as researchers to believe that we know more than the people who run our society. And my whole take and my whole contribution to the half-truth movement, I say half-truth because nobody wants like the full spectrum, it seems like these days, but I would say, like, if the Brotherhood in the occult circles staunchly believe to the point where they'll put billions of dollars and sacrifice innocent children for it, if they staunchly believe in Lucifer and Muhammad and Jesus and Krishna, then why on earth would it be fake if they are spending all their time and their money in the belief of these deities and believing it so much to the point where they're sacrificing children for it? I can't accept the term like they're LARPing or anything, because, LARPers, we're not talking about like a Renaissance fair dressing up in plastic armor and foam covered swords. Like, if these people are, sacrificing children to Lucifer, and they've spent copious amounts of time and money, and they have their brotherhoods all over the world, doesn't that add any relevance to the fact that these religions could be real? I mean, I think it'd be very foolish of us to think that we're smarter than them, when they have control of the world and their symbols all over our money. Because, you know, if you come from a lot of money, and I'll speak from experience that I do, like rich people just don't do things just because there's no reason to it. There's always, I mean, whether it be, even if it's snow skiing in Switzerland, they went there for the experience of the outdoors. Like people do things, especially rich people, they do it for a reason. So if it was all fake, if these Abrahamic religions are all fake, and if the Hindu religion is fake, and if their ancient Masonic secret is fake, then why would they dedicate so much time, money, and practice into the worship of Lucifer? That's my question.
Not addressing any of the points that we made throughout the presentation, and I already answered this earlier, Enoch. I don't see how you can believe that Christianity is true and Jesus must exist because the Freemasons have the King James Bible as one of their special books, and then also think that Krishna is real. Like, these are contradictory things. They both can't be real. They're very different worldviews. And just because you have mosques all over the world, does that mean that Muhammad's real? No. Lies spread. How do you know that the founders of Freemasonry really believe it? Or if they just are the high initiates that know that it's a con and want to promote it for everybody else? There's your answer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Enoch, I respectfully disagree with you.
Okay,
When you say when you say hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. When you say that the high level Freemasons believe in Jesus, I think that's not true. I think the highest level Freemasons know that Jesus is a mythology.
And if God is real and the Bible's real, why would he let the satanic Freemasons take over all the world? Like, that's pretty fucked up. Is he incompetent? Is he evil to let that happen? It makes no sense.
I'm gonna let Enoch respond, and then we're gonna go to Donnie Darkin.
Okay, thank you for letting me respond, guys. I love it. The respectful disagrees. I just love the debates, and if we can all conduct ourselves accordingly and not pull an Alex Jones, I love it. But yeah, my rebuttal is that, you know, if these high level societies, and I will say that, how do I know they believe it? Because I went to their, you know, I went to their book studies. I heard what they said. And I actually did get invited to the Golden Dawn, which didn't play out because of lockdown, and I probably wouldn't have done anyway because the ritual's so extreme. But the high-level Masons, they do believe in Lucifer, and they staunchly believe in Lucifer. And you can't believe in Lucifer without believing in Jehovah and Yeshua. I mean, if you can believe one without the other, it's a contradiction, because there's always a flip side to every coin. So when these high-level Masons who are in control of this society that we live in, if they worship Lucifer and they staunchly believe in it to the point where they, you know, take time out of their day and spend unbelievable amounts of money on it, I just think it'd be foolish for us to not take into the fact that, okay, they do believe in Lucifer, and we should take that into consideration, because, you know, if it was fake, you know, I don't think these people would have gone that far. I mean, they're taking all our celebrities and our people in government, and, you know, they're getting them into these rituals. And as time goes on, we're seeing a lot more of these people exposed. And basically, my whole thing was, you know, when I saw like their level of belief and how serious they were to this deity of Lucifer, it kind of made me think, well, that would be foolish of me if I didn't believe in Lucifer, and on the flip side, didn't believe the adversary of Lucifer. So that's my rebuttal.
But also, Enoch, when they in terms of their belief in Lucifer, they don't think Lucifer. They think Lucifer is the hero. He's the light bringer, the helper of people, the teacher, etc. They're not associating like blood curdling, you know, evil to Lucifer.
Oh, yes, they are, because they do believe that he is the savior and the light bringer and the one who freed us from the garden. But they also know Lucifer is, like, nothing pleases Lucifer more than the blood of circumcision and the blood of sacrifice on Passover. So when they
That's
do
the
these
demiurge.
things,
Yeah, that's the Yahweh. Thanks, thanks, brother. Thank you,
thank
brother.
you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go to Donnie Darkin. Hello.
Hey, that was really interesting what was just said at the end there. I wonder if anybody caught that, you know, that Lucifer or Satan requires blood sacrifice on Passover. And then you responded with, that's the demiurge, that's Yahweh. And that's exactly what I've been talking about. is this Gnostic. This is literally what the Nag Hammadi texts say. I mean, when you read the Apocryphon of John, and it talks about how the demiurge arrogantly boasts as being the one and only God, unaware of the spiritual hierarchies above him, and it quotes from Isaiah 55, where God says, I am the Lord God, there is none other beside me. And the Apocryphon, the Gnostic secret book of John, as they call it, literally references that passage in Isaiah and attributes it to the demiurge, which the Gnostics refer to sometimes as Yaldabaoth. But that's exactly, they're talking about Yahweh. They're talking about God. And I don't know if anyone caught that, but this is exactly what I've been talking about how this rising Gnostic rebellion is carrying out the work of the occult and of the Gnostics, which is freeing the prisoners of the planet and the archons being the demiurge, Yahweh, right? And it's completely flipped everything on its head. So by engaging and yoking with and taking up the fight that you guys are taking, we are essentially rebelling against God. You know what I mean? We're calling God Satan, right? Do you see how that all works?
Well, if first of all, Yahweh, the demiurge, is not Lucifer.
No, but I'm saying in the Gnostic rendition, in the Gnostic accounts of Yahweh, he's the demiurge, he's the devil, he is Satan, he is the evil, arrogant, boastful, lesser creator God, who created the veil over the minds of the world, who created the Matrix, right? He's the chief architect behind the Matrix, who made a special covenant with the Jews, right? And promised to give them the world as their inheritance. And you see the Gnostic. So this is all, I'm talking from a Gnostic perspective right now, right? And so you can see if you have a biblical perspective, you can see how the Gnostic rendition is literally is in direct opposition, and it's calling God Satan, and it's saying that we're the victims. That it's saying that the reason for the wickedness and evil of the world isn't our hearts, it isn't us. No, it's God, it's Yahweh, it's the demiurge, right? And he's formulated this matrix to keep us prisoner, to hide this great secret of our divinity. That's the narrative. That's the matrix narrative that's unfolding.
So, Donnie, how do you reconcile this pantheon of gods if it's a monotheism?
What pantheon? Oh, in the occult, in occult beliefs?
Well, just in
spiritualities?
In the Judaic beliefs, right? If they got Shekinah, if they got Yahweh, and they got Lilith, and all these, whatever you want to call them, all these characters, and who's God speaking to when he's walking down the Garden of Eden, talking to, using the "we" reference. It's inconsistent, right? It's a huge inconsistency. It's a really polytheistic.
Hey, sorry. I'm checking out of my hotel right now. Hey,
All
sorry. Okay, let me give you this card real quick. Hi, I'm sorry. How much was it?
Adam, you wanna chime in? JM, go ahead, JM. Guys, can you hear me? Did we just crash or something here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm coming back. Sorry, what was that name? No, you don't. I don't need the receipt. Thank you. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, sorry. I'm back now. I'm back. Okay, what were you saying?
No, I was saying, like, how do you reconcile it's a polytheistic pantheon of gods?
According to?
Well, you got Shekinah, right? You got Yahweh. They're getting it on in the holiest of holies. It's obviously polytheistic.
According to what passage?
According to the Jewish people.
No, but according to what passage? I'm asking, like, where in the Bible does it say that? Is what I'm asking.
Adam, can you help me out with the Shekinah? in the Holy of Holies, please? I don't know. I'm not a biblical expert as much as you.
Perhaps in the Babylonian Talmud, but that's not in the Bible.
Adam, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm out with the family and my phone's about to die. I didn't catch all of Donnie there, but I would say that the Gnostic view that the God of the Jews, Yahweh, is really the demiurge is really irrelevant to me. And I care. I think that the power structure and the people in power, they believe they're the chosen people of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they worship the God of Israel. But I just see him as the villain. I see Satan as working for him. He created him. Yahweh created Satan. He creates the light and the darkness. He works for him. In Judaism, they believe he works for him as an angel, providing a divine role. So the Gnostic thing is pretty much irrelevant to me. And as far as like the polytheistic gods, there's the God, the Most High, and then there's El or Yahweh. So that's kind of two gods. And then
Elion.
You're talking about Elohim, right?
Elohim, yeah. And then there's also the Ancient of Days is another godlike phrase. And
the what?
Elion.
Yeah.
These are all the same names for the same thing. But go ahead.
Right, yeah, and I can agree with you. They could be the same names for the same thing, or they could have evolved from Canaanite religions that was El and other things. Asherah definitely.
I can actually break it down right now.
Are you guys talking about facts or just speculating? Because it seems like it kind of serves your purpose only when it serves your purpose here.
Let Adam finish.
And Donnie, as Donnie knows, and everybody knows, I think all of these gods are pure fiction and mythical and a figment of the imagination of these ancient Canaanites who became the Hebrews and the Israelites. So it's kind of a moot point, really, to debate the specifics of it. But from like a theological standpoint, like what you say, Donnie, is valid. So go ahead. But guys, I'm about done here. My battery's gonna die, and I'm out in public, so I'll try to listen a little more. See you, Donnie.
I'm gonna wrap it up shortly too. But go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, well, I actually did. I'll actually link it in the Jumbotron here. I actually debunked this idea that Elohim is referring to a multitude of gods or something like that. I'll go ahead. I went ahead and linked it in the Jumbotron, broke down the Hebrew language and everything. About what you were saying about, well, going back to my point, it's really interesting. So in Zechariah, I think someone's got. It's
I'll look. Yeah,
it's Adam. Adam.
Adam, turn your microphone off.
I think you can mute him too.
Donnie, do me a favor. Put that link in the body. Don't put it on the Jumbotron. Just put it in the body of the thread.
Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, so it was really interesting. So I was reading over Zechariah 14 last night, and it literally validates everything I've been saying about how God is going to raise up the nations of the world to come against Jerusalem, to expose, destroy her, plunder her, and God's going to save a remnant of the people, because the trial and tribulation is a form of refinement, and we see this theme echoed all throughout Scripture, right? So this like I was saying in the last phase, this alliance that's forming is like I said, it's a multi-faith ecumenical Gentile alliance that is poised to expose Jerusalem and the Jews and their God, right? Yahweh, as you say, is Satan or whatever, or the demiurge, or whatever you want to call it, right? And that's the whole premise. It's God who's raising you up, and He's using you and people and everyone who's in this movement as vessels of wrath to bring judgment against Babylon for her harlotry. It's the same thing that happened in 70 AD with the Romans. It's the same thing that happened with the Assyrians. It's the same thing that's happening right now. That everything is boiling over. That's what we're witnessing right now. We're witnessing a boiling over of things that have been set in motion centuries ago, right? And it's this clash. And that's what Daniel talked about the kingdom of iron mixed with clay. It's talking about this Gentile and Jew marriage that's not forming correctly, right? And that's why it splits. And that's why this Gentile alliance is going to make war with the harlot Jerusalem for her crimes against humanity. And that's what we see. Yeah.
Or the Jews could have realized that eventually the world would get sick of their shit and come after them, right? So
the Jews are going to lose. I'm telling you right now, the Zionists are going down. They are
Yes,
going
I
down, and
agree.
they're going down hard. But
I
this is
agree.
but this is prophecy. That's what people are understanding. They think the Jews are behind this all. No, the Jews are going down. They're going down as judgment upon her, and God is raising you guys up to be used as tools of judgment. And it's really ironic because everybody wants to be a tool of God's judgment. And the ironic part about it is you are going to be used as tools of judgment. You are going to be used as a vessel of wrath because God is raising you up in your delusions to carry out his will. That's why Revelation 17:17 says that God puts it in the hearts of the kings of the beast to do so, to destroy the harlot.
You know,
Right
Donnie,
after verse 16.
I want to share something with you. A caller yesterday, a Hebraid, Orthodox, said, "Hey, you know what, Bert? I've been listening to your spaces for a couple of months now, and you make me dislike myself." And I said, "You know what? That's the greatest compliment you could have ever paid me." Why? Because shining a mirror to their behavior, and they see it. And here we are having fellowship, trying to address this. We want a redress of grievances, right? And shining that mirror to them. And he said that to me. It was, when I tell you it was the greatest compliment that I've ever been paid. I'm not engaging in hyperbole.
Yeah, but that aligns exactly with what I'm talking about. That aligns exactly what I'm saying. God is raising you guys up to be used as vessels of wrath against Jerusalem, the Zionist New World Order, and Jerusalem, and the machinations of the Babylonian cult. He's raising you guys up in an unholy alliance, which is going to culminate into the beast. And Revelation 17:16 says the beast rises. God puts it into the hearts of the beast and his kings to destroy her, lining up exactly with the Old Testament in Zechariah 14. And so too, the book of Amos talks about the day of the Lord coming, where God will deliver Jerusalem into the hands of her enemies, where there will be a great day of destruction and wrath poured upon Jerusalem for her harlotry. And this is echoed again in Isaiah and a couple other passages. But it all points to Revelation, where this Gentile alliance, who becomes aware or awakened to Mystery Babylon, to the Babylonian cult, to the Zionist elites that reign over the kings of the earth, like Revelation 11 says. And they're going to be, and you guys are already exposing her, and it's all going to boil over into this revolution that's coming. And it's just like the Matrix. Think about it. It's
Donnie,
exactly like the Matrix.
Did you? How long have you been listening?
I've been trying to I got to catch a flight in a little bit, so I've been in and out a little bit.
All right, listen to this.
I just mentioned, and some others. So what the Jews appear to have done, a small fringe countercultural sect of the Jews did, is they took this model and did what all the other surrounding cultures did, is basically make a Jewish version of it. So they created a Jewish personal savior. And to do that, they build off of the most fundamental structure of ancient Judaism at the time as a religion, which was all based on atonement sacrifice, basically blood magic that would assuage the anger of God and secure your blessings in this life and in the next. And it begins with the story of Isaac, right? Abraham is commanded to sacrifice Isaac, his firstborn son, to assuage the anger of God. And God stops him at the last minute. He's going to do it. He's totally obedient. And God stops him and says, "Oh, okay, I'll let you substitute an animal." And that actually is, in Jewish lore and legend, the beginning of the Yom Kippur principle, the Yom Kippur ceremony, where you would take a goat as a substitute for people and kill it, and that its atonement would assuage the anger of God and atone for the sins of Israel, the sins being the things that offend God. Now, that was the basic model, but the problem is, of course, that animal blood is less powerful, less magical than human blood, and therefore you have to repeat this every year. So every year at the Jewish temple or equivalent, there was a ceremony where you would have the goats. And I'm going to talk about the ceremony a little more. There's a few more details that are relevant to Christianity, but the basic idea is this: you sacrifice this animal and all the sins of Israel are canceled, but that wears out. The magic only lasts a year. The spell duration is only 1 year. So you have to keep doing it. And this especially became a problem when the temple cult was destroyed by the Romans. Oh no, now how do we get atonement? There's no temple to do the ritual in. And that was a crisis for the rabbinical Judaism. They have to solve it in other ways. Christianity was already on board with solving the problem because they wanted to eliminate the temple even before it was destroyed, because they were an anti-temple sect, like the Qumran sect was, that they thought that the temple cult had become so corrupt that it was actually preventing the end of the world. They wanted the end of the world. They wanted to bring doomsday on. And the reason God wouldn't do it is because the Jews keep sinning. It's like, well, you keep sinning, I'm not going to come and save you. And so these countercultural sects saw that the temple is getting in the way. Well, if the temple cult is corrupt, we'll never end sin. So what if we just get rid of the temple cult theologically, so it's no longer even a component? We go direct to God, skip the middleman. Then we can like appease God, and then maybe we'll bring on the end of the world like we want to have happen. And so Jesus, when you look at the epistles of Paul, it's very clear that really the sole and most important function of Jesus in their theology is that he replaces the temple. He replaces both the Passover sacrifice and both the Yom Kippur sacrifice. If you attach yourself to Jesus, you no longer need the temple ritual. You no longer need the Yom Kippur, because Jesus, being the archangel, the firstborn son of God, that's the most powerful magic blood that you can get. So if you sacrifice so if you sacrifice this guy, the spell duration is infinity. So you no longer need to repeat the ritual year after year. Therefore, you no longer need the temple. And you can see this, you can read this throughout the letters of Paul, that really is the role that Jesus performs. Everything else about terms teachings, moral teachings and stuff was just add-ons to that, to create the local community that they were trying to construct. But the actual function of Jesus theologically is to replace the temple as the ultimate sacrifice.
Now, Donnie, can you refute that?
Yeah, I was listening, and then I got a phone call. I was out for like 30 seconds, but I think I got the general premise of it. Like I said, I'm getting ready to head to the airport in a second, and I'm taking my daughter. We're going back to Texas. So from what I understood about that is he's saying that ancient Judaism is essentially stemmed from blood sacrifice and things of that nature, and that that the Christians essentially opposed the temple because there was some anti-temple sect, and am I kind of in line with this a little bit?
Yeah. And the reason why Jesus was invented, this is basically the reason, right? So that you could replace the temple. You don't need to do the sacrifices once a year with the scapegoat. Jesus becomes the scapegoat. His spell duration is infinite because he's the celestial archangel, the firstborn son of God, and all this other blah 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 blah. So makes sense, right?
I have a question. I have a good question for you.
Yeah.
So if that were the case, if the Jews invented the concept of Jesus, why would they reject him?
Well, who else would have come up with the concept of Jesus if it wasn't the Jews?
Well, I'm saying why.
Oh, I can't hear you. Oh man, here we go. Yeah, Donnie, you just came back.
The prophecies they used to create him said that they would reject him. That's why.
Okay, and what about when it says that he's going to bring judgment on them for their wickedness? Why would they call themselves wicked?
Adam, can you hear him? Can you respond, please?
Yeah, they're wicked, and that's why whenever anything bad happens to them, it's punishment from God. And instead of realizing that their God isn't real, when they lose battles or when they have famines or have tragedies, they say we're being punished because we sinned or we followed false gods or we didn't keep the commandments right. That's why. And it's clear the prophecies that they used to create Christianity said that he would go to a people that they did not call his own, that they would reject him and they would be blinded and it would be a stumbling block, and that it would go to the Gentiles. The Gentiles would put their hope in him. So the whole narrative they crafted from the prophecies, working to fulfill them. And Donnie, all the stuff you say about Babylon and the beast and all that can be true, even if it's not real. Even if it's all fiction, it can still be true because it's just an ancient blueprint and a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is what I think it is.
So the Zionists are going to destroy themselves.
Well,
the Zionists. So the Zionists are going to expose themselves, raise up armies of the world against themselves to be killed, plundered, and Zechariah 14 says women raped, children killed. So they're essentially raising up armies all over the world so that they can kill themselves. We're essentially watching a mass suicidal ritual, is what you're saying.
Guys, Adam, are you still there? look, as far as the messianism and the prophecy fulfillment, this is Bronze Age Jewish fairy tales. Okay, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I really don't. I believe that the evil that we're confronted with is very much real, but it's not rooted in some kind of supernatural, Jewish myth. What would you call it? Fairy tales? Listen to this.
That was the version that they imported into this model of the savior deity. So they sort of created a Jewish version of this savior deity that has a pantheon, has a passion and a death and resurrection, and through which he gains victory over death and shares with his followers through baptism and communion and all of that stuff. So that's that. But let's get to Jesus in the Gospels. I told you earlier, faith literature was typically fake. There's some 40 Gospels, by the way, half a dozen Acts, dozens of forged epistles, or more, actually, depending on when you count. But even Exodus, Deuteronomy, Kings, Daniel, Esther, Maccabees, Tobit, Joseph, and Asenath, and other testaments and lives of the patriarchs, Jewish literature was typically fake too. A lot of Jewish literature was really fan fiction off the Bible. There'd be like one line in the Bible that says something really weird, and then someone would write a huge book explaining that one line. So it's just like, Harry Potter fan fiction or something, except they took it seriously. Well, the Christians did that too. The Christians, for example, eventually got annoyed that there were no stories of baby Jesus, so they invented a toddler Jesus that wanders around town and kills all the local villager kids for annoying him, just to show that he's God and you shouldn't offend God. It's actually one of the scariest scariest Gospels that you'll read. It's like a script for The Omen that was too scary, even for the film industry. So
Where is that in the
a lot of
Bible?
fake stuff. So we have to be aware of their fakery.
Dude, he's talking about the books that weren't in canon. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, like that, exactly what I'm saying. So like the Nag Hammadi collections and
But
the Apocrypha, right?
he has irrefutable facts, like the vast majority, and the default setting for the gospel writers were forgeries.
Says who?
Says a peer-reviewed PhD mythicist.
Says one scholar.
Says one
Okay,
scholar that was peer-reviewed.
Wow, one peer-reviewed scholar. How about the? Okay, what percentage of scholars do you think agree with him?
They didn't debunk it, and it was peer-reviewed. I'm going to answer that because that's a good question, right? Because you guys want to go with the consensus. Now, all right, so he's in the minority in terms of Jesus mythicism, right? Because the consensus, the academic, scholarly consensus is that Jesus was a walking, talking human that lived on Earth. Now, let's stick with that. 50 years ago, the academic and scholarly consensus was that Abraham, Moses, Isaac, the founding patriarchs were also real people. But now, in 2024, the academic and scholarly consensus is those people were fictional characters.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is fact. Now,
it's fact. Yeah.
I think if we move forward 50 years, Jesus is going to be added to that list.
Oh wow. So what do you think about Tacitus or Josephus or Pliny the Younger
what about Pliny the Younger? Pliny the Younger. Pliny the Younger. This is the problem with Pliny the Younger. You guys think that helps you, but it doesn't. It actually hurts you because Pliny the Younger is 110 AD, and he was one of the leading Roman authorities, like hands down. He was a praetor, he was a consul, and he was a governor of Anatolia. Bithynia, right?
And what were Romans doing to Christians at that time period?
He hardly saw a Christian, dude. He didn't know what the fuck to do with these people. This is one of the leading adjudicators in the Roman Empire at 110, and he was like, what's this? What are these Christian things? What's up with these Christian people? It wasn't. It actually debunks your argument because it shows that
that's not the point. No, it actually strengthens my point.
Let me make my point. It actually debunks your argument because it shows that Christianity was very, very tiny, infinitesimal, and it debunks the whole Christianity took off like wildfire idea because he didn't know what to do with Christians because legally, like the Christian thing just came up on his radar, and he didn't know anything about it. So it doesn't.
Well, I'm not
support-
claiming. Well, I'm not claiming that he was a believer. The
No,
fact that he wasn't a believer, it strengthens my point.
It's not that he believed or he didn't believe. He didn't know very much at all about these so-called Christians.
Right, but that's not the point. Right, but that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. I'm bringing up these people because they verified the existence of these things from a non-biased perspective. Okay, well let's talk about Tacitus. Let's talk about Josephus.
Jesus. Well, hold on a second. We're on Pliny the Younger, right? So it didn't prove Jesus. It just proved that Christians were around. Now, like I said, it goes against the grain, against the argument that this was a wildfire success that was spreading mad. No. There's other cults like the cult of Isis was much more popular. There's Mithra was much more popular, right? At that same time, and we can get into this whole thing, but I gotta seriously start winding this thing down, man. I've been going since 10 o'clock, trying to get to the 5-hour mark, and we're right there. But I'll give you the final word, Donnie. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you talking to me on a respectful level. A lot of people get on here and they're just like they don't know how to act. It's kind of embarrassing.
No, I appreciate you, man. And listen, I respect what you do, bro. And if you could be. Look, I don't believe I was, I've only been a couple of years out of it. All right. My dad was a pastor. So I don't even talk religion with my family. Just don't go there. It's a very difficult thing to come to this realization. It's the most bitter. It's the last and the most bitter of the red pills to take. Okay. The theological. But I respect what you do. And this is what I tell the Christians. Look, if it's a system that works for you, if it keeps you upright and moral and upstanding and doing the right thing, and or you want to be a cultural Christian or whatever, be the best version of a Christian you can be. It doesn't matter to me. It's a personal decision to make for everybody.
Yeah, I understand why you think that way, but one of the things that's really important for people to understand is that even most professing Christians today are being deceived right now by this red pill stuff. And like you said, it's the last bitter red pill. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with this red pill, knowledge, intellect, fruit of the tree of knowledge, whatever. It's all pointing back to a rejection of the God of the Bible. It's all pointing back to humanity embracing their true power. So and waking up from the prison that the demiurge put them in, so that they can get to the next level or ascend. That's why Q's last post mentions ascension. This is all connected. Everything that we're witnessing today, transpiring, is all connected. From Candace Owens, unveiling the JQ, to Kanye West, and all these major influencers who are awakening, who are taking the red pill, just like Neo did. He took the red pill. He woke up to the fact that he was in a matrix. He discovered the architects behind it and found his true power, his true divinity. That's going to be the narrative that humanity's taking. That's the narrative that's playing out right now, is that we're escaping the matrix that the demiurge put us in. And the Gnostic texts say that demiurge is the God of Israel, the God of the Bible, Yahweh. So I just want to put it out there to anyone who's listening who's a believer. If you have any trace of this stuff in your life, purge it immediately, because you might not say outright that that you reject God or you're rebelling against God, but you're rebelling against God in your heart by seeing yourself as a prisoner in the prison that he put you in, by seeing yourself as someone who's enslaved or the victim. It's another way that Gnosticism puts the blame back onto God, rather than in our own wicked hearts, which is where Jesus says evil originates from. And that's what makes this deception so organic and so powerful. It's because people are genuinely deceived. It's not about, oh, this guy's connected to the Illuminati because he's got the hands, he's throwing up that thing. And I used to think like that. And I was deceived for so long. Oh, this guy's connected to Messiah. No, it's people are genuinely in their heart. They are deceived and they're being led to their destruction. It's the blind leading the blind. And God is allowing this to occur so that he can raise up this army, this Gentile unholy alliance and armies against Jerusalem, just like Zechariah 14:2 says, that God raises these armies up in their delusion to be used as vessels of wrath. So if you're going along,
I'm definitely on board with being a vessel for dispensing justice and being a wrath as to the people of Jerusalem. That's for sure. Listen, folks, remember that video? Remember that video I told you that I couldn't find? Jake Shields just uploaded it. So listen to this. This is a member of the Likud party in Israel being interviewed on RT. Listen to this.
I understand you're on the Russian payroll, and I understand this is a Russian propaganda, but you have to be very careful. Because let me tell you, we're going to finish this war. We're going to win because we're stronger. After this, Russia will pay the price. Believe me, Russia will pay the price. Russia is supporting the enemies of Israel. Russia is supporting Nazi people who want to commit genocide on us, and Russia will pay the price. Russia also. Now, listen to me very carefully. We are going to finish with these Nazis. We're going to win this war. It's going to take the time it's going to take, but we're going to win this war. Afterwards, we're not forgetting what you are doing. We're not forgetting. We will come. We will make sure that Ukraine wins. We will make sure that you pay the price for what you have done. You as Russia. And you as all the enemies of Israel. And you as all the people who are now making everything they can to support genocide of the Jews in Israel. We are not forgetting. We are not forgetting. Remember exactly what I'm saying now. You will pay the price.
Amir, I think it's safe to say that this is a very passionate conflict that is happening here.
Well, people have been massacred. My people has been slaughtered by your proxies, and you will pay the price. Is it clear? Believe me.
I don't actually think it is clear.
Very, very, very sternly.
I don't think it is clear, Mr. Weidman, and I would suggest in the future, as being a politician,
it should be clear to you, because you have to understand that actions have consequences. And when people support murder of Jews, people pay the price. This is true in Gaza. This is true everywhere else. The time that Jews actually have no power to defend themselves is gone. And people will now have to bear the consequences of them supporting genocidal Nazis who are out to exterminate Jews. What we have seen 10 days ago is not something normal. We have seen these Nazis coming out, massacring people in the streets, babies, beheading them, older people, women, raping, all these things. You've seen them with your eyes. How can you even dare to support the murderers? I tell you frankly, the public opinion in Israel has changed. We are not now where we were 10 days ago.
As you can see, right, he engages in Sith level projection, inversion. They would completely turn the world topsy turvy, stand it on its head, right? This tribist is crying out in pain as he's genociding the Palestinians. They're the ones being genocided. You see that? And he trotted out all the atrocity propaganda and tried and true lies, deceit, obfuscation, projection, inversion. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, but this just goes right along with what I'm saying. Like, yet again, that the rabbinical Jews in Israel, right? They are the harlots themselves, right? They are the ones who have been spiritually blinded by God in order for all of it, in order for God's plan of restoration and redemption through refinement to take place. So when he's talking about, the Russians, they want to kill us, that's what's going to happen. All of these nations are going to come against Israel, and they're going to make her desolate, and they're going to eat her flesh and burn her with fire, exactly like Revelation 17:16 says. And when all that's happening, people in these circles, all the truthers and what are they going to say? They're going to say, based? Oh, God wins. I guess God won, huh? Not understanding, not understanding that this is all playing out, and that the very ones who are supporting and praising it are being used by God in their delusion, like I said, as tools of judgment, as vessels of wrath to carry out God's judgment on Jerusalem. That's what I'm talking. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Is it really though God's judgment or just cosmic karma? And what's the distinction?
The cosmic karma argument makes no sense, because if that were the case, they would have been gone long time ago.
who are you to put karma on the clock?
What I'm saying, doesn't it make much more sense?
Hold on a second. Let me finish. Karma could come instantaneously, or it could take 10,000 or 1,000,000 years, right?
Okay, but doesn't it make a lot more sense that God is delivering Jerusalem into the hands of her enemies, just like the Bible says, for her harlotry, for the abominations of the earth, on that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth, like Revelation says, in his timing? Doesn't it make much more sense that with everything that prophecy has laid out, that these things are happening for a reason, much more than just some kind of justice or but rather refinements, and that a remnant of Israel is going to be saved? We see this theme all throughout Scripture, that God's going to pour His wrath. God's going to pour His wrath on Jerusalem, Mystery Babylon, for her harlotries, and He's going to bring the nations of the earth to rise up against her, to make her desolate. The Gentiles are going to lock arms and are going to wage this. But think about the Crusades. This is exactly what happened in the Crusades. What were the Crusades all about? It was all about taking the kingdom of God, right? That's exactly why people like Alice Bailey and Helena Blavatsky and Elizabeth Clare Prophet and all of these occult channelers, when they channel these entities, when they channel these these spirits that claim are benevolent beings, what do they all tell them? They all say the same thing, that the job, the responsibility, the great work of the white magician is to establish the kingdom of God by earth by piercing the veil of the black magic elites who Alice Bailey and David Icke specifically ascribe to the Zionists. It's specifically. So doesn't it make much more sense that these spirits, that all of these occult channelers have been channeling for centuries, that all are saying the same thing and all are pointing to the same thing, are not angels of light, but are lying spirits who are setting the foundations, who are giving teaching and instructions in order to raise up this army, and God is using them as pawns in His greater overarching redemptive plan of restoration by pouring His wrath onto the harlot, onto Jerusalem, the people, the city that betrayed their covenant with God, in order to refine them and bring a remnant, a remnant that comes out on the other side. And that's exactly what's going to happen in the church. What's happening in the church right now is there's a purging going on. All of these Christians who are getting more and more militant and more dominionist, the Christian nationalists, the post-millennialists, even the NAR, the Seven Mountain Mandates people, they all have their eyes focused on the same target, and that is the globalist cabal, the satanic empire, which is Mystery Babylon.
Donnie, I got you. Or it could just be. We don't need any kind of supernatural elements. It could just simply be the fact that they know that eventually all of this just horrific behavior, right? The supremacy, the racism, the contempt for the rest of mankind, this misanthropy, right, would eventually catch up with them. So they put in the poison pill that the world will unite against them in their end times messianism and prophecy fulfillment without any kind of supernatural element. So it's not like, this is the hand of God. Can't you see it, brother? Don't you look out your window and see what's happening? Oh, yeah, I can see Jewry engineering events for millennia and then ascribing it to divine.
That doesn't make any sense.
And
I'll tell you why.
Come on the scale.
That doesn't make any sense.
Look.
I can tell you why.
You want to tell me? You want to say that there's a supernatural element?
Absolutely. Okay, I have a question.
And that makes more sense than just a passive.
Absolutely.
No.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it that all of the occult channelers from all across time, from Alice Bailey to Blavatsky to even before them, Aleister Crowley, all these people who never met each other, they never had any associations with each other. They're all very, very anti-Bible, anti-Yahweh, sharing similarities with you, and anti-Zionist. And what do they all say? They all say that we need to rebel against the Babylonian cult. We need to wake up to the Babylonian cult.
They're not anti-Zionist because the
Alice Bailey in her book specific.
Hold on a second. The Theosophical folks and Aleister Crowley, the Order of the Golden Dawn, the Freemasons are committed to rebuilding the Third Temple, and they're amongst the leading Zionists.
No, not at all.
Freemasons are.
Alice Bailey studied. No, not at all. Actually,
yeah.
Alice Bailey.
Hold on a second.
That's not true.
They're
I can
committed
pull
to.
up. Hold on. I can pull up a quote right now.
Hold on a second. Donnie. Freemasons, their chief
Are
thing,
part of
their
Jewry.
mission. Hold on a second.
Freemasonry is a
Hold
Jewish.
on a second. Their whole thing is to rebuild the temple.
Yeah, the Freemasons, and that's why Freemasonry is being exposed more and more, because Freemasonry is a product of the Babylonian cults. Freemasonry in itself is a product of the Babylonian empire. That is Zionism. That is, you know, that is the harlot. That is
Right,
mystery Babylon.
you just flip flopped. You just did a 180.
No,
I told you the Freemasons are Zionists, and you're telling me
yes, the Freemasons are Zionists. Yes.
yes.
They're a
You just said
product
they're
of
not. They're anti-Zionists.
No. I said no. No, you're not listening. I
No,
said the occult channel.
Hold on a second.
I said the occult.
Hold on a second. You said these occultists, these theosophists, Madame Blavatsky, right, and the Freemason, right, whatever. And I said, Aleister Crowley, the Freemasons, the Order of the Golden Dawn, the Ordo Templi Orientis, all these secret societies, who are basically it's entry to get into one of the higher orders. You know, Freemasonry is like the entry level, right? And then they identify you, and you can advance in the occult to like Ordo OTO or Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, etc. They're committed to rebuilding the temple. That's their mission statement, man. To rebuild Solomon's temple is their mission statement. I really do, guys. I really gotta. I this always happens, right? This always happens. We're at the highs of the session, and I gotta call it quits. We did 5 hours plus, and I got a lot. I still got a lot to do. But go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Donnie, and we'll wrap
Yeah.
it.
So I'll try to make this quick, but you're making a mistake by putting all these people together. Because if you actually read the work of the occult channelers, the people who channeled these angels of light, supposedly, who are helping humanity to ascend, to reach the next level by dispelling the darkness of the black magicians and the veil they put over, you know, the world, the matrix, right? If you actually take the time to read and study their work, they're all pointing to the Babylonian cult. They're all pointing to the Freemasons. Yes, there's different schools of the occult. There's white magic, there's black magic, there's the right hand path, and there's the left hand path. And it's the white magic, white magic side, like the Alice Bailey and all them, who see the great work is to free the prisoners of the planet. The same way that Lucifer is seen as freeing Adam and Eve, who were prisoner in God's garden. So what's happening is, these lying spirits who are presenting themselves as angels of light and benevolent beings are instructing these occult channelers to pass down the teachings and the message and the cause of fighting against the black magic elites, which is the Babylonian cult. That's why they refer to them as Babylon, literally. And it all ties in with what I'm talking about, with this white magic occult spiritual battle against the black magic elites, and Christians are getting sucked into it, believing that they're, you know, carrying out God's will and that they're taking the kingdom of God, when really they're implementing the age of Aquarius. They're implementing the new Garden of Eden, as a lot of them say, or you'll hear it's called a lot of different things. Like Alistair Crowley calls it.
I want to leave you with this.
There's some competition. Another example, and I alluded to this earlier. You know the story that Pilate, according to custom, offered them a released prisoner. That every time there was a holiday, or this particular holiday, he would release a prisoner to the Jews, and the Jews chose the murderer and rebel leader Barabbas. Now, Barabbas, I don't know if you know, means son of the father in Aramaic. So in some manuscripts, in fact, he's named Jesus Barabbas. So we have two Jesus sons of the father in this story. That's kind of suspicious. Also, no such custom existed. We know for a fact that Pilate never did that and never would have done that. But also, what we notice here is now we're looking at this. It's matching the Yom Kippur ritual I was talking about. Because the Yom Kippur ritual didn't just involve sacrificing a goat. You would get two identical goats. One of them you would cast all the sins of Israel onto, run it out into the wild, and then actually would chase it and push it off a cliff. And the other is the pure one would be the one that you would sacrifice, and its blood falling on the altar would atone for the sins of Israel. This is an allegory for exactly the Yom Kippur ritual, saying that Jesus is the true Yom Kippur. Barabbas and his ways of murder and rebellion, those are the sins of Israel. And if you choose him, you are actually choosing the sins. You got to choose Jesus. He's the true sacrificial goat.
So basically, the go to A to Z here real quick because I'm going to wrap this up. I mean, I could go, but look, I'm working on 3 hours sleep. I'll continue this. I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you what. All these people that are in the room that are coming in late, Donnie's people, Donnie, you're welcome back here anytime. We can pick this up. We can pick this up Monday. I'm free Monday. We can do this. We can do this all day Monday. But
we can pick this up. Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is because this story only makes sense allegorically. It only makes sense allegorically. Jesus Barabbas, the son of the Father, the two Jesuses, as representing the Yom Kippur goats. So you got Jesus Barabbas and our Jesus, your Jesus.
Well, see,
Right?
Jesus. Well, actually, I talk about this a lot, actually, because it only proves my point further, which is that that Christians today are making exactly the same mistake that the Jews made back in those days with Jesus, with Barabbas, right? They said, "Give us Barabbas." If you actually read the text, it says that Barabbas was an insurrectionist, and that he represented revolution against the oppressors. He represented physical salvation, and Jesus represented spiritual salvation. And Christians today, but listen, but this goes with exactly what I'm saying. Christians today are making the same mistake because they're seeking after physical salvation and liberation from their oppressors rather than seeking spiritual salvation from sin by grace through faith in Jesus Christ. And that's exactly what's happening. It's a spiritual agenda. It's not a physical agenda merely, but it's not merely. It's a spiritual. It's primarily spiritual.
Okay, look, this only makes sense allegorically because there was no such custom. It never happened. Okay, this didn't happen. It's fictional. It only makes sense allegorically because there was no such custom, and it matches perfectly with the Jewish ritual of Yom Kippur. So the people choose the way of murder and rebellion, the sins of Israel instead of the atoning sacrifice. So it only makes sense allegorically.
But why would they make up in their heads prophecies against themselves? That doesn't make any sense.
Because they knew that their rotten behavior was eventually going to catch up with them, and they want to have that in there built in. Like, hey, eventually, like I said, eventually, if you don't practice an ethical, upright way of conduct, why do you think they've been thrown out of 89 nations 109 times? Why?
Because they're exactly, but that goes exactly with what I'm saying.
Right.
It's what we're seeing is the same thing happening over and over again.
Right.
And it's all culminating to the final destruction where God will raise up armies of all the nations of the world to gather around Jerusalem to destroy her and make her desolate and naked and burn her with fire and eat her flesh. Exactly like Revelation 17 says. The same thing that Hitler woke up to and what the Nazis rose up to in response to was the same thing that this Great Awakening is rising up in response to too, which is the international Jewish conspiracy of disempowerment and enslavement. And that's why.
Okay, let me. I need to wrap this up, and I appreciate your participation, Donnie Darkin, ladies and gentlemen. We can give him a round. We can give him a big hand. Let's give him a big hand clap for Jesus. Big hand clap for Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hey, anybody got a rattler out there you can throw me so I can twirl it around and show my faith in the Lord? Thank you, Lord. Okay. This we can rally around, right? Okay. We can say that these people are doing very wicked things and there needs to be a reckoning and they have to be checked because we face an existential threat. Whether you are Muslim, Christian, Hindu, we're dealing with a ruthless enemy that views us as subhuman and is bent on our annihilation, especially you pale-faced European Christians. You got the biggest target on your back. They like the Muslims and the Arabs compared to you, and look at what they're doing to them, right? So we can all rally around that, whether you're a Christian, a non-Christian, whatever, Seventh-day Adventist, Mormon, whatever, Catholic, regardless of your denomination. We face an existential threat, and we can rally together, and then we can have our philosophical debate once we've dealt with this existential threat. Can we agree on that, Mr. Darkin?
What you're saying aligns exactly what I'm talking about this deception. Is the world rallying together of all faiths, of all nations, of all kinds to expose and destroy the harlot. That's exactly what I'm saying.
All right,
but
brother.
you're just saying it from the perspective of the deceived. You're coming from the perspective of those who are going to be used as vessels of wrath. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm happy to be used as a vessel of wrath, justified wrath, right? Thank you, everybody. Once again, just an unbelievable space, and they just keep getting better and better. And we're going to continue this. We're going to continue this all week because the truth shall set us free, guys. Speak the truth to the devil's face, figuratively. Speak the truth, though your voice may shake. Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate you all. I guess I'll see you guys Monday, 10 a.m. Same channel, same bad time, same bad channel. And I appreciate the contributions today from all the participants, Donnie Darkin, of course, Adam Green, Enoch, all you guys, the regulars, Brother B, Marcus Mitchell, etc. Everybody, if I forgot you, I didn't. It's not from malice, but I got to get some sleep because I can't sustain myself without a regular job. And if you can make a donation, please consider it. Truthers united will never be defeated or divided. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, everyone. See you Monday, 10 a.m.
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate shitty coffee? I, for one, really hate shitty coffee, which is why I'm excited to introduce to you a company that's revolting against shitty coffee, and it's called the 1775 Coffee Company. Now, I haven't had it yet because I only drink decaf. Steph has had it. Steph, how do you like it?
I really like it. You know what? I have a French press, and so I've been using my French press and totally enjoying it. It's delicious. It's smooth. It's smooth.
So 1775, the world awakened. In 1775, the world awakened to a new era. And now it's 1775 Coffee Company is bringing you a coffee that embodies that revolutionary spirit. Crafted with passion and precision, our beans are ethically and exclusively sourced from the finest coffee beans farms of Bolivia. Didn't know that. 1775 Coffee Company's farm-to-cup journey ensures the highest quality of authenticity and sustainability from start to finish. With each sip, your palate will recognize and appreciate the dedication and passion that goes into crafting this single-sourced brew. 1775 Coffee Company takes pride in offering customers a truly exceptional coffee experience with their premium coffee collection. But their dedication to this revolution extends beyond the realm of taste. Safeguarding freedom of speech is critical right now, which is why 1775 Coffee Company has joined forces with Rumble in defense of one of our most fundamental rights, freedom of speech. Coffee that's sure to awaken all your senses, including the sense of freedom. So choose 1775 Coffee by going to 1775coffee.com/litter. That's LITTER, and use the code LITTER for 10% off the checkout on your first order. 1775 Coffee, brewed to perfection, crafted with revolution.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit